Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 259 of the RRBG podcast. This episode is brought to you by Decibel Magazine. Decibel has been around since October of 2004. 17 years of bringing you the most extremely extreme music news around. This episode in particular is brought to you by Decibel Metal and Beer Festival, the best extreme metal and beer festival in the country. Make sure to follow them at Decibel Magazine on all of the things. And go to decibelmagazine.com to get all the latest news on metal, beer, and all their festivals and everything they got going on. They even have a special subscription where you get a magazine shipped to your house with a little flexi disc featuring a special song from whatever artist is featured that month. Go check them out and support extreme music. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Thunderking Coffee. Thunderking provides organic, air-roasted coffee straight out of Costa Mesa, California. It's seriously some of the best coffee I've ever had. My personal favorite is the Positive Morning Attitude. I order 2 pounds of this almost every 2 weeks because I just can't get enough. But they also have bottled cold brew. They have their special California Christmas peppermint cold brew out right now. You can order it from their website. So go to thunderkingcoffee.com and check it out. Support small, independent businesses, people. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at Saints Joints. Go to saintsjoints.com to check out all the options that they have. They have these amazing packages with pre-roll joints, which will have pre-rolls from either side of the strain spectrum, either indica or sativa, and they even have multi-strain collections. Pick up one of their amazing Book of Saints. They currently have 2 volumes, volume 2 being a special Halloween edition. It looks like the Necronomicon. It's amazing. They're currently available in Washington and Oregon and will soon be available in California. Go to saintsjoints.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is part 3 of the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest series, and it's a 45-minute interview with Jacob Bannon and Nate Newton of Converge. After doing a bunch of interviews on stage, I decided to break down, take all the lights and microphones and cameras into the green room and sit down with Nate and Jake to talk about the new Converge record, Blood Moon. We talked about the festival. We talked about Nate's knee injury. We talked about their writing process. It was a really great conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please make sure to pick up that new Blood Moon record. It is fantastic. Follow them on social media at Converge on all the things. And if you have a chance, please check out our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG. Cheers. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I am here live at the Belasco Theater for Decibel Metal and Beer Festival with the one and only Converge. How are you doing, fellas? Well, Nate and Jake. The other guys are over there. They don't want to be on camera.
I'm great.
You're obviously not great.
I could be worse.
You could be worse.
I mean, it's things happen. It's whatever.
It's a thing, and it happens.
Yeah, I don't even care.
Was it on stage? Did it happen, or just like at home?
I honestly don't know. I mean, there have been things going wrong in there for
years,
well over 20 years. But this particular thing, I don't know what happened. I was sitting down eating, and all of a sudden I was like, why won't my leg bend? And I must have tweaked it and just didn't know I did it at some point. Whatever. I'm fine. I can't jump around right now like House of Pain.
I was going to try to complete that lyric, but I had no idea what the next
jump up
and get down.
Come on, you guys from
Done.
the Northeast? I mean,
Nailed
House of
it.
Pain, Boston, and New York, New Jersey.
But yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. What does RRBG stand for?
It stands for the Rock and Roll Beer Guy, which is what I call myself.
I see.
But I shortened it because a lot of people would turn me down because they're like, I don't drink. I'm like, well, I don't need you to drink. I'm the drinker.
All right.
So it's your podcast, your deal.
I thought it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah. So I put up Google alerts for the show whenever I have bands on sometimes, and I get notifications for anything that has to do with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
That would make sense.
Rockin' Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Rockin' Ruth Bader Ginsburg podcast. That's what I'm rebranding to that for sure.
That's
I would
fine.
listen to that podcast.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So you guys are playing tonight. You're headlining day one of the festival, but you're not known to be a beer band at all. So how did this whole thing come together for you guys to play a beer festival, basically?
They asked us to play.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, ethically, what's the difference? We play venues with bars for a billion years.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think that it's just sort of like, I don't know, there's a lot of things that are part of, like, sort of like club and music culture that I'm not really all about or into personally, and I think that, like, collectively we aren't, but doesn't mean you can't play alongside those things, you know? Like, people have their passions and they have their things, and it is what it is.
You guys just put out Blood Moon, which is amazing, by the way. It's a departure, I would say, a little bit for some of the older heads for you guys. But if anybody's been keeping up with the band, I mean, to me, it felt like a natural thing, because you guys have been doing that festival, the Blood Moon Fest. Is it called Blood Moon, right? The Roadburn.
Yeah.
Thing that you guys
Well,
do?
we did it. How do you like?
I don't think it's that much of a departure.
No.
If you listen to the discography of the band, I mean,
If you
every
fucking
record.
pay attention.
If you were paying attention. No, I think if you listen to the entire discography, every record has, if not one, at least, you know, I mean, like, there are a few slower, moodier songs in that same vein. I think this is just the best realization of that we've done. And I mean, for a long time, we talked about wanting to do a record that was just focusing on that sort of material. The Roadburn thing happened because they approached us asking if we would do a set that was all, you know, the slower material, and it kind of snowballed into being a collaboration. It originally, it was just going to be the four of us, and then
Yeah, because Kurt had the ideas of trying to do, like, the big band thing for a bit too, and that was like a great way of almost like completed the idea.
yeah,
You know, like, so it kind of made it like give us like a mission to a degree, like a way to just do something different and start this up. That we want it rekindled the idea.
yeah.
Now, how'd you guys decide upon bringing in, you know, Brodsky and Chelsea Wolfe?
And they're both awesome.
I mean, aside from them being awesome.
Well, I think
And Ben,
and Ben Chisholm.
Ben
I think
yeah.
it started with Steve, where that just seemed like a no-brainer because, you know, he's in our circle already, and he was in the band previously, and we've all played in other projects with him and stuff, and so, and we knew that, you know, he could handle it, handle the material without having to even think about it, really, because he's such a talented musician. And then I think Kurt had the idea of approaching Ben Chisholm, or was it you?
I can't remember the direct, like the first direct contact with that stuff. I know that they knew that that you and I were fans of the second record when that came out, and then like I feel like that Ben may have gotten in touch with Kurt about some engineering subjects around that time, and then things started to kind of.
But as far as having him involved.
Involved.
In the project, I think
we talked about it like almost like right after the Roadburn thing, be like, you know, because he's so talented. He's just like.
Yeah, and we knew that we would need someone that could run samples and stuff like that, and then actually Chelsea's involvement. I think all of us were like, oh, it'd be really cool if Chelsea was a part of this, but none of us wanted to ask her because we felt like it was overstepping. And when Ben started working on the material, she approached him and was like, "You think they would let me sing on some songs?"
Yeah.
And he told us, and we were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Yes.
Yeah. It's such a great marriage too. The way that everything works together in the album, like just the harmony of all the different voices and everything. And
that's that's also a lot of that comes down to Kurt's mixing and mastering, mixing and engineering chops, because he was given so much material through that process to make that record. It was it's probably a challenge to navigate all of that and make it musical, sometimes. But yeah, we're all really, really stoked on where things were at with that version of the band.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun just to watch it evolve. And I mean, Converge has always been collaborative in the way we work together, but this was very different because we had to do a lot of it remotely, and so it was really cool and interesting to see the way songs evolved when other people got a hold of the tracks and they would send something back. It was very different than the way we would normally do it, where we'd all be in the room and we'd figure it out together.
Yeah, we like hash it out then. This was like, we had to be more open-minded to the whole process.
Yeah, this was like, oh, you did that.
Okay, let's go that way.
I hadn't even considered that. Yeah. That changes everything. Mm-hmm. Now I guess we're going in a different direction, but like it really just made everything stronger. So it was really fun, really a really interesting and cool process to be a part of.
Were the lyrics like collaborative as well, or was that mostly
completely? No, it was actually just the opposite. So, like I purposely didn't want to work on too much lyrically until we actually had song structures really down, because these songs were they were changing every. We worked on this for quite a long time, on and off, and every time there was movement in it, things would change so much that I didn't want to get married to an idea and then lose that idea because the part just changes, or like have like a lyrical narrative start to sort of, be told and then have to rewrite it because now the end is now the beginning and stuff like that. So I just
you don't want to get married to like only being able to hear something a certain way.
Yeah, because that does it, and I also feel that like when vocals come into play in a song, especially something like that, it really sort of is like the last. It's like the last ingredient which defines like the melody of a song. So even if there's really, really incredible, memorable guitar stuff and things that are happening and really cool guitar melodies and hooks and whatnot, a vocal is always something that people will identify. And like I didn't want to like put that stamp on something and then like it just clash with everything else. And I want to leave room for others. So I was just like, I'm just going to wait. And I'm just going to see who takes the lead on what aspects of certain songs and whatnot. And usually like the person that brought the initial song idea, if they wanted to write a melody or had that down, like Steve, for example, or Chelsea in those instances, they would be like, I'd wait for their sort of input before I gave any input or started editing those ideas and working with them. Steve and I worked a lot on just a lot of lyrical content. I did a lot of editing with him too, where like we just kind of sit and work on harmonies and melodic ideas and stuff like that, and change things that would just flow better, which is a different way of working than typical Converge, where we kind of get like we're all really open-minded, but we also get really sort of cemented in our roles and just kind of stay in our lanes and add what we need to add. And this was just different. It was loose. I liked that a lot. It was something different. Cool challenge.
It was the same with the music as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Whenever I put an idea out there for everyone, it wasn't the same as if I was writing a song for a normal Converge record. It was more like, here's a sketch.
Yeah, a sketch is a great way to put it.
Sketch and show me what this makes.
Loose, yeah. They were all That's like a really great way to describe it. They were all sketches to start, as opposed to like fully formed ideas.
I mean,
anyway,
it speaks a lot about your guys' approach at this point. Like bands that have been doing it for so long, you get kind of stuck in their ways and like don't want people to like collaborate with them or change them up too much. So it's really awesome to see this kind of. I wish more bands would do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
Yeah.
But I think one of the strengths that kind of helped us with that is that all of us, have other projects where we're regularly collaborating with other people. And, I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, having done that for so long, it kind of made me be a little more open to just, being aware of the group of people that I was with and like letting it be what it is instead of me trying to push an idea and say, this is what I want this to be. It's more, this group of people are together right now and this is what's going to happen when this group of people are together. And it's, trying to force creativity in that situation just sucks creativity out of the situation.
Yeah, for sure. If
that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
For you specifically, you're doing double duties this weekend. You're playing with Cave In. Are there plans to tour Blood Moon as a package with everybody, like with Steve and Chelsea and everybody, like the whole crew?
We certainly want to.
Yeah, it's to be clear, because it's hard to be clear because it's a whole new idea, but like Converge Blood Moon is a 7-piece version of our band. Like that's what it is. It's like the big band version of us, and both versions, exist and will like exist that way, which is sort of cool. So like it will like we'll at least in the way we look at all of this, like, and all the members, like, that's the band. So we won't like go out and just do like us with Steve and be Blood Moon or us with just Chelsea. It's just the band. Yeah,
it wouldn't work without.
Yeah, it's just because we all contributed so much together. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of bands, you could do that, but with this, I feel it would be like really disingenuous to do that.
Yeah, like especially after, if you have the record and you've been listening to it, if we did that without someone who was on that record,
it'd be weird. It really wouldn't work. It's like everyone's so unique that's on it. There's
But to answer your question, I'm fairly certain that yes, that will happen. The schedules that need to be juggled to make that happen.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I mentioned the double duties, because like I know Cave-In's ramping up to drop a new album and probably go on tour and all that. So
yeah, I mean it's just we just have to be aware of all of our schedules. And
that's it.
We can make it work.
Make it work. So I know that you're probably not thinking about this now because this album just came out and you're still logistical nightmares that you just mentioned, your schedules and everything, but. I know that we had a lot of time with the pandemic to kind of sit around, create. And is there more material I know that Blood Moon, it says 1 on it, so I know there's more coming.
Yeah, well, there was like
I hope so.
I hope so. It's also an informational design challenge, like how we were going to present that whole record and this new idea. And how would we title record or records or what have you? And I think we just wanted to like make it like a structure that we could just continue, like Blood Moon 1, Blood Moon 2, Blood Moon 3. I want there to be 1,000 of them, I know there won't be, but we'll try, see what happens. But it's a mouthful, but it works well. And I've honestly always enjoyed records that have had numerical names too, numerical titles. It's just sort of something that I like. Personally, so I was in
for Led Zeppelin.
They're pretty good.
Till it didn't. Till they changed
all that other stuff. Yeah, they changed it, and then all that stuff happened.
Yeah. But I mean, I also think that in a way, like numbering it was like kind of putting a challenge on ourselves. Like, okay. We're saying that we're going to do this again, so we better. Now we have to do
now
this
we got to do this
deliver,
again.
So.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think in some ways our circle seems to work well with a deadline.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just noodling around. So when it's like, okay, there's a hard deadline when things have to get done. It's like, okay, let's fucking get to work.
Yeah, that's definitely also a little bit of like the residual effect of like having a bunch of other bands and pulls in our lives. We're like, we have to do that. Like if we don't do that, like he's right, like things would just get, they wouldn't get finished. And it's not to say that like we will put out something subpar because we put a deadline on something. It just makes us work harder, to complete things and move on.
Yeah. And I feel like we're all fairly good at immersing ourselves in something when it's time to work on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think there'll be any kind of like break between, like, if the theoretical number 2, like will there be a regular Converge album and then part 2, or do you think you're going to maybe go straight into 2?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We really just casually talking about music the other day. We have no idea. Like none of us have like a strong opinion on any of that stuff. It's more like whatever we feel motivated to finish and do at that time. And that's just the natural thing that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, my general feeling on that with any band I'm in is just get in the room together, start making noise, and just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Technology is very helpful to be able to send files back and forth and everything, but there's nothing like being in the room with them.
Well, what's hard about it is that you can feel like you can have a prolific personal moment, right? And you can write a bunch of stuff, and you can like be really excited, but when you present that to a group digitally versus like in the room and getting that immediate feedback, it's tough because it can become kind of self-defeating, because nobody's going to have the same enthusiasm and excitement for you when you're just sort of like throwing information at them when they're in the middle of their daily life that's not that, where they're not in that creative headspace. And so it's like, in some ways that could kind of deflate your own excitement about your art and music. Sometimes it's worth just like doing it, documenting it, being excited about it, and just kind of like waiting for the time where you can present some of these cool ideas in a little bit more of a manner that will serve the song or the material or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways it's kind of better though, because you can put an idea out there that, well, you know how it is. You can come up with an idea that in the moment you're like, this is fucking amazing, I'm incredible. I made the most. Everyone's gonna shit themselves
Fuck yeah.
when they hear this, and then you give it to everybody, and they listen to it. Like, and if you're in the room with them, sometimes they feel bad being like, I don't know, man.
I hear you. No, it can go both ways. You're right.
So like when you do it that way, it's like, I think it's a lot easier for people to not critique, but to just say, yeah, maybe we should change this, maybe we can do that, maybe we can do, and like just get their point across without having to like be, walking on eggshells or whatever.
That I guess with making the Blood Moon record, that was one strength about being remote, is that we could deliver the fully formed idea, like a fully formed demo before. Like one thing, like kind of he's getting at is like conversation and sort of compromise and refinement can sometimes like not allow you to actually say your full creative idea, because you never get there, because it gets interrupted so much before it gets there. In an ideal world, we'd all be silent until the presentation is over,
I mean, that even to a lesser extent, that happens to just not music creators, but just fans of music. Like, it happens to me with you guys, or like Dillinger, or whenever I have friends that don't listen to a lot of heavy music, and I'm like super stoked on the new album, and I'm like, guys, you gotta check this out, and I put it on, and then like I'm super stoked, and I see the sadness in their eyes, like they want to be nice to me, like, oh yeah, it's good.
The other day, I was thinking about that, like that's the curse of fanaticism, and it happens to anyone who's fanatic about any subculture, counterculture related thing, especially music. I was listening to a podcast the other day that I like a lot, and they were talking about wrestling, and they were talking about that's also like the that's like the pain of a wrestling fan, especially of like when I was a kid. Like, imagine like being a kid and like going up to somebody and like saying like, you need to listen to this Iron Maiden song, or you need to check out this thing, and you're so enthusiastic about it, and like they give no fucks. Like they're thinking about something that is just not in your world anymore. Like you may as well live on different planets.
And I always get a gut feeling when that happens. Like when I'm showing it to someone, I'm like, oh, they don't like this at all.
Yeah, but and it's hard not to take it personal in a sense that like you just love it so much and want to share it with somebody. You know, that's all. Like but yeah, no, I see it with heavy music. I mean, I get fucking pumped about like the last Dark Throne record, but I guarantee you I couldn't go outside and find the first 25 people I talked to, I couldn't get them stoked on Dark Throne. You know what I mean?
Maybe today.
Today I could out there, but like in real life, like just like walking down the street, not happening.
I mean, I just think in general, normal people, that you're just going to go out and meet on the street. They're just not going to be passionate about music anyways.
No,
so, like,
they're not.
If that's something that you are passionate about, it's, it can be hard to explain that to someone who isn't, regardless of genre.
It's a private passion.
Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind when I talk to, like you said, normal people sometimes, and they're like, they don't even know lyrics. They're like, oh, I really like this song. I'm like, you know what that song's about? They're like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. What are you listening to? Like, you're just listening to the beat in the background?
Well, here's the thing, though. Like,
that's valid.
Yeah.
It's totally valid. Like, here's the thing. We are completely out of touch, though. All of us in this subculture. We are fucking just completely different animals than most of the world. Like, for example, the other day I was talking to my wife, and a friend of ours was saying that they went to a concert, and somebody that's not related to music or whatever in this world, and like we looked up who that person was, and I was like, I don't have no idea what that is, I'm sorry, whatever. I looked it up, and it was like a sort of like a country, like a rock country star that probably had like 9 trillion bajillion bazillion views and listens. They may as well have been like the most important and popular person that has ever existed in the world. Cool. I had no fucking clue. So who's a weirdo?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we're the weirdos.
I'm fine. And I'm absolutely fine with it. That's why I'm here.
Is there ever any question about that? Like, it's not like this
it's
shit
not,
that we got into when we were young was normal then, or big, or popular. Like, how could we expect
I thought it was.
There was a time, I feel like in the early 2000s, where like the mainstream was getting heavy. But
heavy in a weird way.
Heavy in the sense
it got heavy. It got heavy like it got soggy. Like it was like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, it wasn't substantive. Right. It wasn't like, it didn't have teeth. It was always like a softened, sort of more reserved version of aggressive music, and that's fine. That's the way it's meant to be.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that. It's just at this point in life, you just start to like think about these things because we're not 18 and just like fucking amped up on the volume and the aggression of something.
Right.
So you get a little more like introspective and analytical about things.
Well, to your point of getting older, not being in our teens. Where do we draw the line, or where would you draw the line? Like, there's certain way, like, this is your life, this is your career, you're doing music. How far do we go in order to become successful, to monetize it so that we can exist and live in a nice, life, like be able to provide for our families and whatnot, and also not sell out and keep true to your, crazy extremities.
I think that if I know,
I don't really even at this point, I don't even know what selling out is.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, in our world, like it's kind of a myth. Like at least in our world, I mean, sure, there's bands that it's existed for, but we're like one of the most like non-marketable bands in the world. Like in terms of like what we are.
Well, sound-wise, because I have seen Converge stuff in like TV shows, and like I see people wearing shirts.
Yeah, but people wear shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, most of that stuff's luck. Like, and it's just like where you land with things. I just think that like if any of us didn't want to just like make music and be creative to express ourselves, we just wouldn't do it. you know, and like this, I think the same. I think we all have the same sort of compass when it comes to like the business aspect of it too. Like it's just like the business stuff is just residual. It allows you to just for the creative aspect to exist.
And to just continue going.
Yeah, like, and I think that there's like a kind of a misconception of like what success is in independent music and aggressive music, and like, you know, like every musician I know, like for the even like successful musicians in the sense that they have large audiences, nobody is like crushing it. Everybody is, you know, like just your average like lower to upper middle class working individual that's in this world that happens to have notoriety attached to it because you're like semi-public figures, because it's just the nature of what art and music is. I mean, to me it's just not glamorous, it's just sort of a thing, you know, like I don't know, it's just it's a weird subject, you know, because like it's tough to attach selling out to that when a lot of people are just existing, you know? Like, who am I to artistically say something is like valid or not valid? Right. Like, there's so much material in sort of sub genres, big and small, that don't appeal to me, but it doesn't mean they're not valid forms of art and music, you know? It's just like, it just is what it is, including the country thing that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it just doesn't connect with me.
That I don't fucking like. Most shit I don't like.
He doesn't like much,
but I also like a lot.
But he likes a lot. Yeah,
it's really weird. But
he's
like,
strange.
I'm strange. But you know, yeah, somebody is passionate about that thing that I don't like. So it's not my fucking place to say whether or not it's valid.
Yeah.
As far as like selling out goes, like I think people's view of what, you know, being a successful band is, especially like in a successful guitar band, you know, like these days, is completely warped and judged on an outdated paradigm. Like the days of becoming a millionaire from playing fucking loud guitars, those days are gone. You know, for all intents and purposes, man, rock and roll is dead. It is, and I'm okay with that. You know, like it's not king anymore.
There's your headline, by the way, from this entire thing. It's like, Nate says rock is dead.
It is, and you know what? Good. Yeah. Fucking let it die. Let it fucking just dissolve into the ground, and then let something else grow out.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about all of this stuff. All of these sort of like defining genres, like they're meant to have like a ebb and flow, and they're all waves that crash, and then other things sort of come out of all of that movement that happens after the fact, and you know, new genres and new things pop up. I mean, you see it now. You know, like, heavy, aggressive music isn't the same now as it was 10 years ago, and it's not the same as it was 20 years ago. Yeah. That's the debris floating around.
Good.
That's good. Who the fuck wants boring-ass shit? We're just talking about that on the walk here.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, maybe I don't dig everything that the kids are into. Doesn't matter. I'm not one of the kids. It's not for me. It's for them.
Yeah.
And fucking, they need their own voice. They need their own, you know, they need their own fucking, you know, benchmark bands or whatever that are gonna be current and important to them. So who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
For you, so have you gotten to that age where you're done listening to new music?
Absolutely not.
No.
So what are you listening to that's new that you want to, like, you should, like, help put a light on it? You know what I mean? Like, who are you listening to that people should listen to? Both of you.
Oh, man. Whenever I get put on the spot like this, I'm like, ugh.
Blank. Check your phone. Look at your playlist. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you know,
that's the way
a band
to do
like
it.
Idols, but they don't need my help.
Right.
You know, they're crushing it, and they're incredible.
They're an interesting band.
I think that they're not only doing great things musically, but, you know, they've got great things to say. And yeah, I mean, I whenever someone asks me this question, I'm like, where's my phone? I need to look at my phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you take in all that, all of your music now, you know, at least like, you know, young music, you know, just like taking it in a sort of like a sampling way.
Yeah,
there's so much shit. I don't think I have my phone on me.
I mean, it's easy. This year alone has been one of the craziest years in music. Every band that I like put something out this year.
Yeah, I mean, like, what did I really dig this year? The new Erebrot record. Gold has a new record coming out that's great. The Elder and Cadaver.
Oh, the collab, yeah.
What's that called? Eldevar. There it is.
See, that's another collaborative thing. Like, I would like to see more of that kind of stuff too.
The Chisholm put out a record that's awesome. Chubby and the Gang, that record was awesome. Fax, FACS. If you listen to them, they're great. I'll stop because I will literally do this all day.
I would do that if I had my phone, but yeah, like I don't know. I'm a big fan of Johnny Jewel's label, Italians Do It Better. It's primarily like electronic music to a degree, but I go down weird wormholes with music. Like I'll just like find a random band and then just start following things and going deeper and deeper and deeper into Bandcamp.
Are you gonna put out a solo electronic project like most heavy metal singers or heavy music?
I mean, I actually did like when
a synthwave record.
No,
synthwave, man.
It's not. There's something about I like sad synth pop. You know, I don't like.
You got to go gothy with it.
No, that's not my thing. I like more like late, like mid 70s like disco influenced current synth pop, like stuff that's like it's not emotionally neutral. It's usually like quite sad, especially like in like subject matter. They're not like soft pop songs, but they're really infectious.
Like Party All the Time from Eddie Murphy. That's a pop song that when you pay attention to the lyrics is very sad. It's about his girl just. You
listen to Huey Lewis on the fucking news, Huey Lewis in the news, and it's fucking devastating.
Yeah, I remember being scared of Huey Lewis when I was a kid. Like, there was a video they had when they're like in the beach, but they're buried up to their heads.
Stuck with you.
Yeah, dude, and that terrified me as a child.
Lyrically,
this is scary.
You know what? The guitar breakdown in Heart and Soul.
Oh yeah,
it's a fucking good breakdown.
Yeah.
That's all. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
I gotta say, like the lyrically, the Power of Love is a massive song.
Yeah,
it's fucking heavy, man. And like the fact that he fits it into the melodies that he does, it's fucking brain surgery.
People don't give that band enough credit. That was my first live concert too.
Really?
I was like 11.
Oh, that's
10.
Cool.
I love that we're talking about Huey Lewis in the news.
They played in Vegas. My dad took me to see him, and then they did a whole set, and then they came back out and did a whole other set a cappella.
That's awesome.
It was insane.
I have a friend who lives in my town, like right around the corner from me, and he's like 13 or 14 years older than me, and he fucking loves Huey Lewis in the news, and like that's how we became friends.
Nice.
Is like somehow we ended up just broing down about Huey Lewis in the news, and like have you seen that Instagram account Rigs of Dad?
Oh yeah, that's my buddy Ross. Shout out to Ross.
Oh, shout out to Ross. He made these shirts that said no Huey, no news. No, what is it?
No Huey, no lose.
No thanks.
No thanks.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and it was like, holy shit.
It's the best.
I need that shirt for my friend John because he like made him as a joke, and I'm like, I want that shirt. It's not a fucking joke. That is for real.
Yeah.
And I gave it to my friend John, and he was like, this is the greatest fucking shirt I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because it's true.
Yeah. Man, I grew up on all of that, you know. And if this is it, ooh, like
it's a great jam.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, musically that was fucking kryptonite.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I realized the genius of a lot of it.
Well, I was thankful that I wasn't Krypton. I actually liked it, but still. But I get it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah, I was a fucking snob. Still am.
What were you listening to as a kid?
Iron Maiden and Motorhead and all the hard rock my brother was giving me. So I started at like a really really early age with having a lot of those things and those like real specific sounds given to me, and me like understanding like, no, this is fucking great, everything else is garbage. Like, and that kind of like exclusionary thing that kind of happens as you start to, I don't know, find your own taste, you know, like, I don't know, it was just like a really important time in my life for like making my palette for music. And so I always started to, even back then I would dig deeper, you know, and like oh cool, like that's a heavy thing, that's a cool scary album cover, I want to see the scarier album cover, you know, like you know, like I don't know, I remember like listening to Slayer for the first time. I'm like, that's fucking awesome, I love this band, who are still probably one of my favorite bands of all time. But then I'll be like, I want to dig deeper than this. Like, what is past this?
There's more evil or
there's something that's more evil. This isn't the evilest.
Yeah, I need the more evilest.
I need the evil
of the evil.
Is this eviler than the other one?
When you say kid, how old are you talking?
What would that say?
Young, 8, 9.
8. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I mean, the very first record I ever owned was Marty Robbins' Gunfighter Ballads.
Wow.
And my dad gave it to me when I was 5. You know, and it's fucking sick. Fluorescent pink cover with Marty Robbins in all black with a Zorro mask and a fucking cowboy hat on holding his gun. I'm like, this is sick. I'm into this.
What's the first record you bought with your own money, though?
The Stray Cats, Rant and Rave.
Wow.
I don't know what the first one was that I bought. That would have been a cassette because I had all cassettes. I do remember my first CD because CDs were so exotic and so expensive, and it was a fucking big deal to get a CD when CDs came out. And I got Dio Sacred Heart.
Nice.
I think that's what it's called. The brown record with the dragon.
My first CD was Operation Ivy.
Oh, that's cool.
Too.
It took years to get a CD player. Like, we were so behind in my house. It was.
I love that.
Yeah,
album
mine
much.
too.
Yeah.
That's like the cassettes though. I was like deep into cassettes. Like, I mean, it probably would have been like Kiss or Judas Priest. Probably Judas Priest is just still up there with like one of my favorite bands of all time. But like I definitely went through like a Kiss phase, early like Iron Maiden phase. I had all that shit from my brother. Like I remember he gave me like Motorhead and No Remorse, like, you know, because it was like a little too heavy and gruff. He was more of like a hard rock, like, you know, glam metal guy. So like I got like stuff like that from him, and he wasn't really into. And then I would find Slayer and things and stuff. We would get those LP cutouts, those radio cutouts. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they used to be like, remember they're like $3. Yeah. They would cut out the corner, and so like they were not for resale, and they usually stamped with like a do not sell thing. I remember we got like Ride the Lightning that way.
Nice.
You know,
it took me
just like stuff like that.
It took me becoming an adult like 2 or 3 years ago is when I found out what KISS stands for.
I read the Paul Stanley book. I don't even think it's in there.
Knights in the Service of Satan.
I think that's an urban legend.
I mean, there's like official like fan sites where they sell memorabilia, and it's called the Knights of the Knights in Service of Satan.
Like I remember being a kid and like going to church, and they would be like, it stands for Knights in Satan's Service. And,
or something like that.
And like, I've never seen the actual band endorse that anywhere.
I mean, it makes sense with the whole, I guess, and the makeup and the whatever, but
I mean, it'd be cool if that's what it did stand for.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it a lot cooler. That's when I heard it.
To me, that doesn't make sense when you put it in historical context, because they were coming up in the time of like real like British glam rock, and where everybody was trying to be, and they came up right after the New York Dolls, and like
they have more in common with the New York Dolls than they do pretty much anybody.
Yeah, like the Dolls and Slade.
Yeah,
and all that
for sure.
Stuff,
yeah,
where
Slade
people
too.
were trying to be like androgynous, and so Kiss. It's kind of like Queen, where like people would see the name and be like, Kiss.
Yeah.
this isn't macho, you know, like.
Well, yeah, it's like a weird, like, sort of like bizarro burlesque show or something. It's like, it's just, it's fucking weird.
Burlesque.
It is. It's weird.
Gene Simmons
burlesque show.
In his lingerie.
Well, it's called Kiss. It's got all these fucking lights. What is this?
They got platform shoes on.
I guarantee you that was the inner thought of somebody at a first Kiss show.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny. Like, I'm the opposite of Jake with that stuff, because like metal, I didn't care about metal.
No, he's not a metal guy.
I didn't get into metal until later.
You started with punk.
I started with punk. Like, actually, I started with rockabilly, and then. Like, my grandfather was a country western musician, and like all those old rockabilly and country records were in the house. And then my mom was into like Bowie and Lou Reed, and she loved the Ramones and stuff. Loves the Ramones and stuff. And so, you know, all that stuff was in the house. There were the Zeppelin records and stuff like that too, but like that was the stuff that interested me. And then like MTV started, and I saw the Stray Cats, and I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then like from there it just went on to searching out other weird stuff like that, and that eventually led me to X. And
it's a brilliant record.
Yeah. And then, you know, got into skateboarding and got Thrasher Skate Rock Volume 1.
So that's why your knee's all fucked up.
It is.
Skateboarding plus Converge equals bad knees.
Bad knees.
Yeah.
Well, final question I want to ask you guys. I mean, you've been around for a while. You've been doing it, and you've done pretty much, I assume, pretty much everything you've wanted to do. But is there a fantasy tour thing, that like a festival or a tour package or a venue that you haven't played that you're like, we need to play there before we call it quits?
That's one getting put on the spot again. I'm like,
yeah. Like Red Rocks is like one that I get a lot. People are like, oh, I want to play Red Rocks.
Well, I mean, like I never had aspirations. I still don't. You know what I mean? Like with this sort of thing, I don't.
Any aspirations at all.
Well, I mean, not with this. I mean, not with. Like I have like, you know, basic life aspirations, I guess. You know, to like just like, I don't know, live. You know.
Yeah.
But in terms of like all of this, absolutely not. It's just like. Yeah, I just don't, because I also don't look at it that way either. Like I don't look at it and go like, this is something that I need to continue like checking boxes off of. Like it's just a really cool outlet. It's just like this really special thing that like we're a part of in this community. And just as you said, it's to a degree, like in some ways, it's a dead art, right? Because it all kind of like it all progresses, it all grows, and then, you know, flares up and fizzles away in some way and turns into something else. And the fact that we've been part of this really cool creative wave of musicians, like not just us, but like the countless bands that we know and all the scenes that we've come up in and stuff, has like been really fucking cool. Like I don't know, like when I looked at like music history when I was a kid, and I would like look at all these like old like punk flyers and see like historical photos of this and that, and I'd be like, wow, that was such a special time that happened just 20 years ago. And in all actuality, we've been part of that in our own weird world, and we don't really look at it that way because we're just sort of in it presently. And that's, I don't know, it's just that in itself is special, you know, like, so I don't really like aspire for anything else. I just can't believe that we're part of this thing that we built together.
That's a good answer.
All I really care about, honestly, like I don't have a goal. Like Jake said, I don't really have any aspirations. There's no like bucket list or anything. All I'm really interested in is finding like-minded people who, you know, are as committed to making good, interesting music as we are. That's it. Like I just want to tour with other bands that share that same passion and aren't assholes. That's it.
Yeah. Well, Jake, you got your art. Do you have anything like when the time comes that you can't do music anymore, like whatever it may be? Like, do you have something else that you are into at all?
He's into a lot of stuff.
I don't know, man. I mean, I love skateboarding just as much as I love music. Yeah, again, you put me on the spot. I don't know. I'm bad at that.
Well, yeah, that's a huge part of your life. That's like a...
Yeah, I mean...
Now you're just going to rock it till the wheels fall off.
Literally.
I
mean, you know, I've helped build skate parks. Just
it's a good way to give back.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I just like being involved in the things that I enjoy, regardless of if I'm the one doing the
actively
thing or if
in
I'm helping the thing happen. You know, that's like a really special thing, I think, about our group of people too. It's just I think we all have collectively a little bit different mentality, because we all like that. Like, we all like helping other people have a voice, or have, like, I don't know, promote other shit, and just like get the word out about this or that, you know? Like, I don't know. It's fucking cool. It's community. Yeah.
Well, I
just
agree.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Do your fucking thing, people. I'll let you go so you guys can rest up before your set and everything. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, man.
Nate and Jake, Converge. Pick up Blood Moon. For the love of God, you have no idea. It's so good.
It's wicked fucking good, guy.
Pitchfork disagrees.
Pitchfork gives it like a 1 or something.
Fuck those people.
No,
I don't know any of them, but
I don't care, man. Whatever.
No, I just want this. I want to see them make one.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's what I tell people.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, the ending of Game of Thrones sucked. Make it better. I don't know. You make it better.
I still haven't watched Game. I tried to watch Game of Thrones.
If we're going to talk about
once.
that, I do believe
and
that
Game of
once
Thrones?
they surpassed the books, they were floundering.
Yeah.
But, you know, it still looked fucking awesome.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I get it. It could have been better, but I can't make it better.
No.
So I'm not going to complain.
No.
Yeah.
The show freaked me out. I watched like that one episode.
Scared of dragons.
In Japan. No, I put it, I'm scared of dragons a little bit, to be honest, but I turned it on, and it was a sex scene, and then a kid got kicked out of a fucking window, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I just turned it off. I'm like, nobody told me about this.
Yeah.
This is intense. I'm not ready for this.
Did they tell you that the people having sex were related?
I found that out.
Yeah.
And so I turned that off, and I watched. We were in Japan, and I turned on like a Japanese, like weird Japanese fucking game show instead.
Those are fun too.
It was awesome. Better. It was way better.
But thank you again, guys.
No problem.
Cheers, everyone. Follow Converge. Nate, personal socials for anyone?
No.
Private.
Take your art. You definitely like your website for your art.
Yeah, it's just my name, and then just stuff. Just Google us.
Buy some
Google
art.
me, bro.
Buy some art, guys. Google me, bro. All right, cheers.
Thank you. Just Google me, bro.